What's going on? It's story time. You know it's great. This is great. This is my social book from 2018. I do this every year. This one's um, 300 pages. Okay, and it's like everything that I and you guys wonder why I post every day. It's not for you guys to read it. It's so I can. I mean, I'm used. Here's what you got to do today. You got to use the world against the world. And how do you do that? You know they're taking everything you got. They're taking everything. Just like this is Facebook, okay? And so I know that Facebook's got every picture. I can't find this stuff on my own Facebook. But if I give them $100, I can get it all in a year. Now I don't know if they're giving me it all, but we're gonna do one called "Whatever Happened to Men" because I opened this up this morning and and I think it was in this chapter. Um, and of course I do some family stuff. My kids went to college, and you know I made some funny stuff. Oh, that is interesting here. Just got a just got out of Facebook jail right there. If you could read it, it's probably gonna pixelate. Just got out of Facebook jail, and um, the next when I get out of jail, I do post kitties. So because people like fuzzy kitties, and so then I become tame, and I start doing normal posts. Don't get all crazy. So this is about me going to Orlando to do a seminar. They paid us and flew us down there, and we had this great room. We had a living room. It was amazing. It was probably $300-400 a night room. That's our. There's our. They picked us up in the limo. Welcome the Jim and Marko show. Yeah, that was like the highlight of my seminar world going around the country. But also what I did. Oh yeah, we'll do this before I get to whatever happened to men. And this is pretty interesting. You guys wonder why do I go in abandoned places? Because I like to see history. So this is an amoeba got into a kid in the first water park in Walt Disney, and the kid died. So they built the whole Walt Disney Park around this water park, and the water park's still there. So, I broke into the place, and it was great the way I got in. I mean, we went right to the front gate, and I said, Jim, just drive. Don't look at the gate guy. And I had this board, a clipboard, and I was pointing to it like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just point. And we drove, never stopped the car, never opened the window. And the guy's like, where are you going? You probably got to pay hundreds of dollars to get in there, right? So we go right through the first gate, second gate, same thing. Go right through it and go, what's going on? The campsite. We go to where they teach the animals. And I knew this because I planned this all out. And I broke in this place, and here's what I found, man. There was like inside here, in here is the big tower, and it was made of shotcrete. And they left it there for 20, 30 years. Why? You know why? I think it's got asbestos in it. Okay. And they never just built around this whole thing. And you could see that I went into it. And these are some of the photos of it. And then all of a sudden, I was only there for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. And then there was this boat and a guy looking at me on a cell phone. I'm like, all right, get out of here. Well, anyways, so we teach the class. It was pretty cool. Full class, probably like 300 people. And then oh, look, I defined cognitive dissonance 2018. So let's get into okay, here we go. There it is. Okay. So basically we're going to talk about I'm just going to read this, and hopefully it's not pixelating. Um, all right. So one of my liberal friends, and by the way, I would write these things. It's not that long, okay? And it's really cool to be able to open up a book about yourself, and it only costs $100. So when I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna be able to go through this book and day by day know what I did. And so I'm using Facebook for this. Okay, I'm using for this for myself. Okay, it actually saves me money. One of my liberal friends told me women have evolved, and it's time for men to evolve. It is a liberal friend of mine. So, I had to think about this conversation. And so I decided to explain because I did a little bit of research, and it says, well, folks, men have evolved. They have evolved, but for the worse. Let me explain. Okay. So the secret society destroyed the nuclear family decades ago. Okay. And now they have social engineers that have unglued the male and female cohesive fabric. Okay. So basically, what I meant here was, they voted and then they went to work, back. And then once they brought, then the kids, came home and nobody was home because both people were working. Before you know it, the divorce rates went high, right? And so that's what I mean for the initial breaking up the nuclear family, all right? And it keeps going on, but we don't get into that. Additionally, these social engineers are destroying the gender, creating gender wars, race wars, and now immigrant wars. And you know what? I'll just keep my finger here so I could remember where I'm reading. So, well, we know that's going on. 2018. I mean, this is what, 223 almost. And it's like on any application, it says, what's your pronoun? I mean, seriously, they have them. Okay. They want to split everybody up so they can control. They want to control so they can lower the population. Now, okay, let me just look at this here. Okay, I did this at February 11th in the winter at 12:27 a.m. Okay, that's kind of late. So must have been bored in the middle of the night, or I had a couple drinks because I should have said not just lower the population. And I just did a video on all this. Okay, oh my God, Agenda 21. Um, I just did a video on this, and it wasn't just that. It was more. It was like to keep people from starving, and there's a whole hour video on it, which is actually should be like a 20-hour video. Yes, women have evolved because they were socially engineered and were mind controlled from an early age through what's called princess programming. Okay, let's think about princess programming. And we're gonna get to the male thing here in a minute, but you gotta have a whole story going on, right? Well, what's princess programming? Well, when a girl's 3 years old, you dress her up in pink and you put a bow in her, so everyone's, oh, she's a girl, not a boy, right? Come on, you know. And then you give them dolls that aren't real humans. Okay, Barbie's not a real human, and you've seen people who try to become Barbies with all the plastic surgery. They look like horrendous aliens, and so they got these 6 foot women, and what are the kids doing at these girls when they're 4 and 5? They're trading shoes and purses and coats. So that's called primitive. They're already programming them with Barbie. You think Barbie is an accident? Okay. So the state continued with the programming through schools and college. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. I got videos on that. I'm not going to get into that one because I'll go out on some tangent. So today, 100 out of 100 women will ask the first question to a man. Ready for this? What do you do for a living? That's the first question all women ask a man. They don't ask the guy if he knows what is right or what is wrong. No. What do you do for a living? Plus, okay, women, and don't worry, I'm getting to the men. I'm not going to pick on women. Plus, women have Anunnaki programming, meaning, oh, this is good. That means that men have to be 6 foot tall. Can you imagine these women are all looking for 6 foot tallers. And, if a woman sees somebody with a 6 foot tall guy and they're short, they're like, what are you doing? That 6 foot guy's for me. You should be with the short men. And so they think men should be 6 foot. And what happens is, all right, here we go. We're going to start doing men here. 87% of men are not 6 foot. Okay, maybe in the future they're getting taller, and they're not going to get these Anunnaki women unless, of course, ready for this, they drive a sports car. So we're going to get into it now. So men has to be forced to become an unauthentic male. Okay, here we go. We're going to use the word unauthentic male, meaning he has to suck up to the Barbie programming females because he has to impress the woman with money, fashion, gifts, commercialism just to get them. It's almost a form of legal prostitution. Okay, so this is my thing that I wrote. So basically, I'm now talking about unauthentic men, which are men who aren't alpha. They may be alphas, but they're unauthentic because they are stooping down. I'm going to work a lot more so I can have a sports car, so I can look impressive. Yeah, I'm going to live in an expensive apartment so the women likes me, they can get me. So they're using these things to get these women. Okay. Now this gets more tricky. So this is where the secret society takes it to the next level. Okay. And for now, let's just skip the religious brainwashing factors that create. Oh, here we go. There's names of men. The unholy matrimony hypersexualism, and slut shaming. So these are women, they have Barbie programming, okay, but they also break women into certain categories. Unholy matrimony. Oh, you shouldn't have, women that don't want to have sex because it's bad, and then slut shaming. Oh, she goes out with two guys. Man, you're a slut because you dated two guys. So this is all social engineering here, okay, which weaves this fabric. The secret society poisons the food, water, and air so men's testosterone levels get low. Now, whether they do that on purpose or not, they also do it with glycosol. And when this happens, men lose some masculinity. Facial hair, lower, they lose the low voice, strength, leadership, individualism, stability, logic, confidence, direction, and many more traits that give men masculinity. Okay, plus the nuclear family's gone, so the boy goes to the beauty shop with mom while she gets pampered. All right, let's just stop here for a second. All right, so I skipped the whole part where how this really happens. Is because in the third trimester, the female has to produce testosterone so the male can get all 6,500 traits, and she doesn't produce that testo because she's got glycosol, poison, GMO food, and all that. And so what happens is the male doesn't get it all, right? And so a lot of things happen, okay? And we're not going to get into all the crazy things that happen, but then it also says, with the men, going to mom's, watching her get her nails and hair done, they get it pampered. You see these guys today? They walk around, these men today, and what do they have? They have purple hair. They have like highlights in their hair. They make sure that, they got the nicest, the newest, tat. They're wearing like piercings, skinny pants. I mean, purses. I mean, these guys, they're pampered. They're pampered. This is like, and it costs money to pamper. So instead of spending money on a pressure cooker, so you can worry about the future, because they're gonna slave you and feed you what they want to feed you. No more meat. You're gonna be eating protein made of insects. Okay, no. Instead of worrying about real stuff, okay, they pamper themselves. Okay, so this changes the mindset, psyche, and even DNA. All right, and I kind of, it was in the morning when I wrote this, and I'd still be writing if I want to say everything. So I skip a few things. A lot of people don't understand what I write because their attention spans are so slow. Plus, the secret society owns the fake mainstream and uses repetitive trauma-based programming. You've heard me say that over and over again. They use normalizing of the not of a not normal human trait like men. Oh, here we go. Men kissing men and women kissing women, on virtually every TV show. Okay, so they basically just throw this at us. Okay, and of course, this is what it was. The reason I wrote this, because that was the Olympics, and there was a guy that ran Olympics, I'm not gonna say his name. So even tonight, that's what started this. See, now I'm starting to realize why I wrote this on Olympics. Okay, who is that freak thing in the high voice and the hairball thing, which is announcing all the skiers? You remember that guy? Yeah. He got dressed up for every night. Okay, this dude is not a real man, is what I say. Okay, and I say they're shoving this stuff down our throats 24/7. Okay, isn't this great? Storytime with Marko. We're reading a book. It's like, when I was a kid, my mom would read a book. She'd open a book and read it. I could do that now, except I get to read my own stories. I got 6-7 years of these books, man. It's amazing. I haven't done this year because it ain't over yet. And they're expensive. They're not cheap. Okay. And there's a couple different companies that make these. This is the best one because this does the stuff you wrote, not just photos. I got some going back with photos, and it was, it's okay, but this is the stuff you want. So 24/7, like it's all normal. Here we go. This is called normalizing and desensitizing. So now we have the new male. Here we go. We have metrosexuals, androgyny males, lumber sexuals, unauthentic betas. I'll explain these. Unauthentic alphas, asexuals, white knights, MGTOs, MRAs, and we got that whole LGBT group. Okay, the social engineers use what's called dielectric manipulation to create gender wars, men haters, women haters, and for the real male and the real and the real male, which is the authentic alphas, male and authentic alpha females are slowly becoming extinct. Okay, so here we go. So what's happening is men are changing, and like, so basically that guy was probably Olympics was this guy here, the androgyny and maybe a metro. All right, and so what's a metrosexual male? He's the guy, that's got the purple hair and it's all perfect, and he, he he I don't know. Maybe he played with dolls as a kid. I don't know. But he's got the skinny jeans and he's like following the fashions and he might have a purse today. Okay. And then you got the lumbersexuals. That's the guys I see. Okay. What's a lumbersexual? And this is and you look at the styles, it's not by accident. A lumbersexual is a man who maybe he is an alpha, okay? Maybe he's a beta. Maybe he's unauthentic alpha or an authentic beta, or maybe he's an authentic. But for the most cases, they're males who may not feel 100% that they're male, so they have to tell the world, "I'm a male. Look, I'm a male." So what do? They grow beards and they grow mustaches, okay, or just beards. And so a lumbersexual think of a lumberjack, with the flannel shirt. So if a lumberjack looks like a male, completely a male. So that's what a lumbersexual is a male. A lumberjack's a male, right? Because he's like using an axe and he's out in the country and whatever. But this is a lumbersexual, somebody maybe that didn't get all the DNA because all the food mom had. And I hate to tell you this, it's not an accident. Where all the food is poisoned. I mean, with glycosol, pesticides, and there's really no turning around. So some of these kids are getting screwed over, not by social engineering, and by certain agendas and narratives. Unauthentic betas, okay? And I'm not going to get into actually, if you want to learn about this stuff, there's a guy. Oh my God, this guy's great. And his name is Mark Passio. Now, sure, he's on all these forums and he's got Patreon and he's trying to sell you stuff now. But I listened to this guy before he became famous, and his videos are still out there, and you could look it up, and hopefully you could find it. He has two videos: whatever happened to males and whatever happened to females. I think that's what they're called. You got to go back there. Got to be 6, 8 years old. All right. These are 3-hour videos. Okay, maybe 2 hours. It'll blow your mind. These are probably 10-year-old videos. Mark Passio. And back then he wasn't, crying for money like everybody on Facebook does. They all got their podcast. Think about a podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. You got two people like Rogan talking to this guy or that. And it's like, why have a podcast? I mean, unless you could find somebody smarter than you in what you're trying to put out there is one thing. If you just want to be a paid repeater, like repeat stuff for people like you're a newscaster, turn on a goddamn TV. These people just repeat stuff, repeat, and tell you the news. Man, listen to people that don't do podcasts, that have their own shows, and you learn something from them. Because when you learn something from people, these are biased opinions. You got to get all the bias to form the truth. I listen to people like weather modification people, the guy like Mike Morales, or I'll look at things like climateviewer.com. I'll look at people like that, and I got a whole list of them, and maybe I'll do a video of all the people I listen to. But that's where you learn stuff. Okay, you got it. You can't just go by one thing you hear or read. And I haven't read a newspaper ever since they lied about me. They used me as an expert engineer, and they tore down this big building, and they put me in a paper, saying, "Well, Marko, big inspector, says to just tear it down." It was bullshit because I talked to them for hours, and they put that. I never read a plain dealer ever since then. Maybe I'll do a thing on that. And I also don't watch news. Okay, and so basically, those are lumbersexuals. Then we talk a little bit about why men are unauthentic. Okay, we talk about Anunnaki, and basically dielectric manipulation. this is what the social engineers do. And if you look, go, I'm not going to copy Mark Passio's works. I mean, it's called Mark. And by the way, who is Mark Passio? He used to be, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. I don't want to get in trouble, but like 30 years ago, he used to be like the president of the satanic cult, the satanic church or something like that. And so he is into all that esoteric stuff. Now, wait a minute. Satanism and Satan, you guys think it's some guy with devil and you're a bad person, you go to hell. That's not what Satanism is. Satanism isn't that. It's not good or bad, heaven and hell. Satanism is self worship. So, like these 33 degree Masons, if you're a Masons before that, and you're allowed to have all the religions, but the minute, and you can't become a 33, those guys get brought in by blood or whatever, they worship themselves. They worship the penis, not necessarily what the penis itself, but what it stands for. That's Satanism, self worship. You are your own Jesus. There is no, you are Jesus. So he used to be part of that group, and then he broke off, and I'm not sure he's religious anymore. But this guy is full of esoteric information, and guess what? That goes back thousands and thousands of years. I mean, pre-Bible times. I mean, it maybe not pre-Bible times, but check it out, and you can learn about a lot more of this. I'm not going to steal this guy's work, okay? But I am going to say it's happening, okay? I mean, look at this: gender wars, men haters. What's the new thing today? Men haters. They hate men, especially men like me. They hate me. Older guys like me, the baby boomers, and the kids don't like us either because, if you watch my video about Agenda 21, these kids, they teach these kids, they take the kids, they own the kids, and they teach them a couple things. One thing they say, facts are man-made. Don't argue with people. Listen to your authoritative figures, okay, which is they say, listen to the experts, okay? And there's a few more things they teach us kids. So, and then if you get into it, men, us, we're the ones that polluted the sky. We're the ones that, I'm not even going to get into this, but that's huge now, okay? And so basically, the real authentic alpha female and the real authentic male are becoming extinct. They're going away, and it's all socially engineered. And if you look at the books from 1992, Regional de Janeiro, there's a whole chapter, on education and how they're going to educate the kids and how you're going to dumb down the kids. I mean, one of the rules they had was in this book was that we got to stop. We got to stop not consumption, not consumerism, but consumption. And rich countries with rich people you consume. So that's why in the Regional de Janeiro or Summit they attacked the United States. Remember they said we're going to distribute the wealth. Well, they weren't talking about rich people. They're talking about America. That's why we give money to everybody. And you're like, why are they giving money to this country and that country? Well, our president signed up to it, man. Bush, Mr. CIA guy, and Pappy, and so basically they signed up to it. And one of the things in these books and more books that follow that 30 years ago was that if you are educated, higher educated people will have bigger jobs, make more money, and they will consume more. So that's why they attacked the kids and came up with that stupid math that doesn't make any sense. And why? And they used, back when I went to school, they would have honors classes and then they would have dumb classes and the middle classes. They would split us up. And in high school, they would have, the dumb kids would take sewing and shop and metals, and the girls would take cooking, and then they had the college classes and they would split us up. Today, the dumb kids are in the same class as the smart kids. So the smart kids can't get smarter, dumb kids get smarter. There's a reason for it. You ever go try to order food and you got some millennial or post-millennial? There's no post-millennials because they'd be 10. Okay, so millennial, and you go to McDonald's and say, give me one of those, try this. It's hilarious. Order a $1.79 McMuffin or sausage McMuffin. And what you do is you say, hey, Yeah, I like to have a sausage McMuffin, and I like to pay extra for tomato, and I like to pay extra for onion, and I like to pay extra for lettuce. And I want two of those because I want the one for the one price and one for the dollar. Oh my God, this kid is so confused at this point because it wasn't just hitting the button. The picture, the little picture of an egg McMuffin, he just he just hits the button. Oh, one egg McMuffin and one small fry. And okay, no. This is like, oh no, that button's not there. What do I do? Oh no. And he goes, can you repeat that? So I repeat it, right? And the line's getting longer. And then you look and to the side, you see he waits and he calls the manager over, and the manager's trying to figure this shit out, right? And finally they figure it out, they're like, because I do it on purpose because they don't have extra for lettuce. They have extra only for tomato. But when you say pay extra for lettuce, pay extra for tomato, and pay extra for onion, it's not on there. So they figure out, oh, 50 cents for the tomato. And guess what? There is one now that charges for the lettuce. Or they hit the tomato twice if they don't like you and they don't want you to come back. So then what happens is, then that manager is like tells the cook, and the cook in the kitchen is like, well, what do I do? He goes, dude, it's morning. You got to go to the refrigerator to get this stuff because it's not out yet. It's not lunchtime. So now you expect the cook to go unpack it, and all this takes time to get this, right? And so then you get it, and then once you get it, don't even look in the bag. Don't even look in the bag because they screwed it up. He probably put pickles on one of them, and the other one doesn't have anything on it. Okay, and you look at your bill, and they charge you an extra $1.50 or 1.50, and they still screw it up. Okay, and it just tells you that the dumbing down is so it's real. I mean, you walk outside and you're like, you see a guy walking. I mean, the other day it was raining, and this guy had a blue poncho, and his dog had a matching blue poncho, like they were both made from the same manufacturer. I mean, this guy spent money, and he couldn't wait for it to rain so he could like show everybody, look, I'm a Metro guy with my blue poncho and my little doggy. Man, he got a little blue poncho too. Look, we're a team. We're walking there. Anyways, let me finish this up. So, all right, slowly becoming extinct. Welcome to the world run by neo-feminists. Oh God, and that's another video. And actually, Mark Passio may define that for you. Where these illusions are propagated, normalized, so the public becomes desensitized and thinks everything is just fucking dandy. So this is what happened to men. And yes, this is a story time, except it's my book from 2018. Anyway, so I realize now I could do lots of videos. Oh, I must have got put in jail there. Oh, we know him. And oh yeah. Oh God. We got to do that one. Oh, there we go. Jenna 21. And I just did a video 1 hour on this. This is called, another thing you guys have to understand. A lot of times I say the wrong word. I didn't want to say the word Wildlands Project like 80 times because that would put me that would categorize me somewhere on a bot would pick it up. So I said wetlands. So if you guys watched that video, I said wetlands like 8 times. I really meant Wildlands Project. And once you watch my stuff, you realize what I do. I sometimes will spell things wrong or say things because I always get in trouble. I don't want to. I mean, look at this stuff. I'm crazy. All schools means fewer kids, sterilized society. I mean, everything I say gets put in these books that I buy. And I ain't even talking about my pressure canning. Anyway, so this is just one book. And I'll find some more stories. Wow. You guys could do this. So that's why I post every day. It's not for you guys to read. It's so I can, when I think of something and I get mad, I want to hurry up and say it and scream to the world. It's my release. And I do it in the morning now, and then once I release everything, I'm great. It's part of my psyche. And then I go back and buy the stuff so I can go back and look at my mind frame, how it was. And it's too bad that I got hacked in my first account because I would have these things going back 10, 12 years. Now I'm only going to have them going back like 8. But that's okay. 8 is better than nothing. So that was story time with Marko, and it was called What Happened to Men. Oh, remember this? This guy coming out of that jet? This guy showed him some photos, I think. And if you watch my videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. And he was a guy holding off on that medical thing, and then he voted on it. As soon as he took a little plane trip. You know, this world is so socially engineered, it's unbelievable. Anyways, hey, thanks for coming on.